To be honest, I just want to beat the piss out of him. I want to beat him in every single area. I want him to look like a little painted canvas when he gets done and have blood all over my hands.
The AllStar app, the #1 app in the business. UFC, Bellator, One Championship, PFL, and more. Get the app right now. Link in description. Magic Mike, March 31st. Bellator 293, you're back in action. Nick
Yes,
Browne.
sir.
What can you tell me about Nick Browne, man? I feel like he's flying under the radar. He's pretty decent, right? Prospect.
Yeah, Nick's tough, man. I mean, you can tell just by his record. He's got 2 losses. He one punch KO Sydney Outlaw. He's got a heel hook finish in Bellator. He's a tricky guy on the ground, but I don't think he's able to get me there. I think he's a little slow. I think he's a little awkward. He's going to eat a lot of shots if he wants to get in on my hips. And what people don't know, because I've gone out there and I've taken down pretty much everybody I fought. I mean, I took down Usman 3 times. Is my defensive wrestling's way better. Like I don't get taken down much. So if he's managed to get it to the ground, it's going to be a lapse there on my part.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right? The clash of styles, and yeah, it's like who can get who to the position they want to get to, right?
Yeah.
Because there's like very little margin of error in this fight, I believe.
Yeah, I think what it really is going to come down to is who can put their pressure on, because we're both forward fighters, right? I rarely take a back step, and honestly, so does he. Even when he fought Mac Mamedov or Islam, even when he fought him, they were going back and forth in kick range, but Nick was still pressing forward pretty much the whole time. So I think if I can get him on his back foot, it's going to make a big difference. If he can get me on mine, it'll make a big difference in that way. So
It's always good to have someone that is gonna fight you rather than play that distance game and kind of use too
yeah,
much movement. Sometimes you see that, right? Some of these guys that they're just running away. I don't want to say running away, but they're trying to pick their shots.
yes. Especially when you're fighting a wrestler, right? Like when I fight other strikers, they're so nervous about my wrestling that sometimes I'm just chasing them the whole time. With this guy who's not scared to wrestle, he wants it to be on the ground. I think we're going to meet in the middle, and I think we're going to beat the shit out of each other.
Well, that's always a good thing for the fans, especially, right?
Yes,
Um,
sir.
let's just back to Bellator 286. We did an interview ahead of that fight against Max, and Max
Yeah.
was not able to get medically cleared. Take us through that whole experience, man, because I felt like you lost most out of that situation.
Oh man, I got fucked. Like, okay, so we show up. I was already hesitant, honestly, about fighting Max because I'd had some people that were scheduled to fight him that I knew, and he pulled out of a lot, like half of his career he's pulled out of, and so I was already kind of nervous about that. And I showed up to fight week. We made weight, but I thought I had nothing to worry about. So what had happened too is you have to get you have to get a brain MRI to be able to fight in California, right? They got to make sure everything's going up there. Apparently, he was born with like a pop blood vessel or something like that in his brain, but he's been cleared. He has a doctor's note for it, like, hey, it's good. It's just like I don't know, it's something that he was born with. I don't really know what to call it, but doctors had cleared him. He'd fought like 4 months earlier in California, so I know he didn't need to redo his medicals. And so I don't know if something got said, if California after I think it was right after that Tua Tagovailoa, the Miami Dolphins quarterback, after he got knocked out, went back and like double checking on everybody's like CTE stuff. So I don't know if California saw that and they're like, hey, we need to go back and look at this stuff and made him retest. I don't know the backstory on that, but I had just gone down the elevator. I was about to say bye to my wife, get out of the elevator. Max is down there and he looks like he's been crying, and he like calls me over and he's like, hey man, the fight's off. And I was like, what do you mean the fight's off? Like I was about to get on the bus to go to the arena. And so he tells me the situation, and then initially I'm like, oh god, like, are you okay? And so that happened. I was super worried about him, and that's just shit that you can't control. So how beat down are you really gonna be about it? I was disappointed. It was my first fight since having surgery. I hadn't fought in a while. But then what was really frustrating was the fact that I didn't get scheduled right away. Like, so, okay, I get half my paycheck here. And then you guys, I'm healthy. I'm ready to go. I've been itching to get back. I haven't fought since December of 2021. I and now I didn't even fight all of 2022, so it was really disappointing to me the way that got handled. But I'm scheduled now. I'm not too mad about it anymore. It's what it is.
Yeah, because he fought like before you did. You know what I mean? Like he just
Well,
fought.
so I got offered him on that card before Chris Gonzalez. And I said, why the hell would I fight him in California again, the same commission that pulled him? I was like, I've never turned down a fight in my life, too, by the way. I mean, you can tell from my track record. I don't do that, but I had to be like, listen, guys, I'm not going through this hell again. I had a bunch of friends and family come out for that fight, buy tickets, buy hotel rooms. I don't come from a super rich family. It was a big deal that they were all making it out there. And I didn't get a fight because of him. So no, sorry, I'm not doing that again. So yeah, it irritated me too when I approached it like that, and then he still got on the card. I was like, you fuckers.
Understandable, man. From your side, understandable that you didn't want to get rebooked with him again because you never know what's going to happen. Is California the
Yeah.
most stringent, do you think, from your experience dealing with commissions?
So I've never fought in New York, but I cornered a couple people, and I'd say New York is pretty up there too. They're one and two. They require the same medicals. It's like a big long you. I have to get a doctor's physical, obviously, to be able to fight. But then their doctors give me one too. I go through all these like brain tests with like memory games and everything. Like go through like a whole concussion protocol. Like my medicals when I landed last time took me like an hour and a half. And so I'd say California and New York are definitely making sure that people are in the right mindset to fight, which I can bitch about it, but I think that's how it should be, right?
Yeah. Why isn't it the same everywhere? That's the question to me.
It's funny you say that. We were just talking about that today about how there's different states have different rules, and I'm like, it blows my mind that there's not a universal commission, and it's because states don't want to lose out on that money.
Mhm.
Their own athletic commission brings in a lot of profit, and so they want it to stay privatized essentially at each
Mm.
state. They don't want it to go to a mass global organization that runs it.
Of course they don't, man.
Yeah,
There's a lot of fuckery going on with commissions, man. I could say that. I'm not a fighter, but
yeah,
we
I
see it. We see it all the time.
yeah,
It's crazy, man. So what did you do after that? After the shit show of Bellator what was it, 286? Like, did you just go
yeah.
back into training, or did you kind of like take some time away, or what'd you do?
No, so what they had initially told me is I was going to get on the next show. They're like, open. If a fight falls through, we'll put you on it. The problem was that they were already all booked out and nobody ended up falling through. And I had like looked up like the next three shows and there was only like 5 55-pound fights and like three of them were guys who were just one contract fighters, like a 2-1 guy, a 2-0 guy, like I wasn't going to fight anybody like that. So yeah, I just kind of took the shaft. So I trained for a while and haven't stopped. Haven't been out of the gym. I was hoping to get something scheduled and didn't work out.
Yeah, this is a common theme for a lot of the Bellator fighters right now is that there's not enough shows and they're not able to fight as much as they want to. And I think that
Yeah,
they need to start doing something, you know what I mean? Like having like back in the day, they had like those challenger series. I don't know what it is, you know what I mean? Something to
yeah,
allow fighters to fight more.
yeah. I agree. I think just at the end of the day, it's just more shows, right?
Mhm. Yeah, that is. You're right. It's just more shows. It doesn't matter
But
what you call it. Just
yeah,
more, more
yep. They got
opportunity.
a big what do you even call it? They got a big roster of fighters and not enough shows to satisfy everybody. So it's okay. And I don't want to sit here and act like I'm bad mouthing them. They've been minus the Max situation, which I think got handled a little wrongly. But shit, from their standpoint, I don't know how I'd handle it either. I still got a paycheck, so they can look at, okay, well, he's still got paid. We'll book him when we can.
Yeah, for sure. And in 2021, you had the back-to-back wins, and then 2022 you didn't compete. Do you
Yeah,
feel like some of your momentum stalled somewhat, or do you feel really good coming into
yeah,
2023?
yeah. No, I feel like people have forgotten about me, but I was never a huge name, anyways. I'm gonna go out here, finish Nick Browne, and you're as good as your last fight, right? And then that's three in a row. And hey, now you remember me again. So it's not a big deal. I'm not losing. I mean, I lost my momentum the moment I had to get surgery, so it doesn't matter. I go get two big more wins, I'm right back where I should be. So
Yeah, especially like with the matchmaking in Bellator, man. Sometimes you get a top five guy, you know what I mean,
yeah,
off a couple of wins. We just saw Bryce Logan take out Peter Queally in Dublin, you know what I mean? And you beat
uh,
Bryce.
I tried hard for that fight, hard for the Queally fight. I was like, oh man, you don't know how to wrestle. You'll just let me push you on the cage. That's an easy win. But I'm happy for Bryce. Me and Bryce have trained together before we fought. We've got a lot of mutual friends. Like I know he's got twins, so it was cool to see him win. I was happy for him.
For yourself, you know what I mean, 2022, you kept training, you know what I mean, and there's always teammates fighting, so there's always opportunity for you to hop in there and get rounds in. How do you feel about the development throughout that year?
I I'm gonna look a lot different when I come back. A lot. I've cleaned up everywhere. And a lot of the time I knew I wasn't gonna get booked. So it's not like I had to be hitting my strength and conditioning super hard. I could be fat and happy. I could be healthy to train and give people rounds. I was able to do a lot more jujitsu this year and get a lot more mitt time. Like I'm hitting harder. I'm moving my feet faster. My ground game's a lot more developed. I I really grew a lot in this year off, and I grew a lot going through that surgery. Like mentally, it put me in a funky place again. That was my sixth surgery, and I felt like I was like really letting down my family. I was just like, man, like my wife's sitting here busting her ass, going to a 9 to 5, and I'm like on the couch, fucking going to rehab twice a day. Like it was a shitty time, but I grew a lot mentally throughout that. And then I was watching so much film just on like anybody fighting. I get bored. I'd be sitting at home. I spend a lot of time by myself, and so I was watching a ton of fighting, and I learned so well from watching others. Like I'm very receptive like that, and so I think I'm gonna surprise some people with how much better I look. Hopefully, anyways.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to see this matchup as well, man, because he's a interesting style that he possesses against the style that you possess, and like you said, we don't know what's to come from you because we haven't seen you
Yeah.
in a while, right? Um, Benson Henderson, man, I know he's one of your training partners. He just fought for the title, retired. Just like there's nothing bad you could say about him, right? He's an all-time great, man, and you got to train with him so much throughout the years.
He's the best human being of all time. Like I look up to Benson and how he handles himself as a man, as an athlete, as a father, as a husband. There's nothing bad I can say, and I'm sad. I'm heartbroken the way that he went out, but he's gonna kill this next stage of his life. And that guy was in the gym today helping his wife get ready. You know what I mean? Me and Maria are on the same card, and he was in there today. So it's sad to see his career come to an end like that, but it's not like he's going to be a stranger. It's not like he retires and he disappears. That guy will be in the gym every day, still beating people up.
Well, he went out on top, to be honest with you. He lost the title fight, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
how, like you win the title. The best case scenario is you win the title and you retire with the belt, right? And just leave.
How many people do that?
Not many, man. It's less than
Yeah,
1%.
yeah. And that's his third fight for a Bellator belt. He had what 5 fights in the UFC for a belt. How I don't know how many he had in the WEC. The dude's only fought 5 rounds and only fought top forever.
Man, I got to see him fight in Korea, man, when he main
Oh yeah,
evented. So yeah, he's loved even in Korea, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
the Korean side of him, you know what I mean? His mom and all that stuff. It's he's pretty popular with that. Is he gonna stay as a coach? Like, is that what he's transitioning into at MMA Live?
Uh, yeah. I mean, he's always really been a coach. Like he's ran us through a ton of practices. He helps people out. He corners anybody and everybody that asks him. So he's always been that type of guy. But I think his role now is supporting his wife. Making sure that Maria gets everything that she needs for her fights and her career, and making sure that she's ready.
That's an interesting dynamic right there, right? He fought for so many years, retires now. His wife is it's her turn to chase after
Sure.
titles, and
Yeah.
and the thing about him is like he's a coach that could get into the rounds. You know what I mean? He could train with you, he could grapple with you, he could spar
Oh,
you. Like there's a huge difference.
Yeah. Oh, he still will. He'll give me and him have given each other too many rounds. I'm sure I'm sure he'll be jumping in on all my rounds still.
Yeah, man. It's a great person for you to have, right? Now he could kind of like focus 100% on helping the team, you know what I mean? And he stayed loyal to MMA Lab as well,
Oh
which
yeah.
you don't really, I don't know if you don't really see it, but like it was a small team, you know what I mean? It's become big now, but there you go. There you go.
Yes.
Loyalty, man. You got to give it back. Um Coming up, man, in this fight, I know you want to get the finish, but like what else do you want to show in this one? Like is there something in particular?
To be honest, I just want to beat the piss out of him. I want to beat him in every single area. I want him to look like a little painted canvas when he gets done and have blood all over my hands. Like I want to take him down. I want to ground and pound him. I want to head kick him. Like I want to show that I'm levels above this guy. Cuz I know deep down in my soul that if I show up how I'm supposed to fight, I I wax this guy. He's too one dimensional. He's not the same fighter to me, and I'm a better wrestler than him. So if he wants to get into a wrestling match, he was a backup on a D2 team, and I was an All American. So we can figure out that too real quick. And obviously, I don't have any bad blood against him, but yeah, I want to look that good. I want to beat the shit out of him and look good doing it. So if that finishes come. If I don't get the finish, whatever. It's a 30-26 fight.
You're a phenomenal wrestler, but I heard MMA Lab just has like young guys, wrestlers from college just coming in and just
Oh yeah, one
phenomenal.
of my best friends, Bryce Meredith. I don't know if you know who he is, but
I've heard of
he
him
was
from your other
yeah
teammates.
with me too. Two-time NCAA finalist, three-time All American. Like we got some stud wrestlers in that
Yeah.
room. So we're
Yeah, you never lost in that. March 31st, man, Bellator 293. Go in the descriptions, download the AllStar app. Magic Mike, thank you, man, so much for the time and all the best in this fight, man. Kick off 2023 with a bang.
hey, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me on.